The Ghost Driver. How Max Verstappen's secret identity rewrote racing history. What if I told you that a four-time Formula One world champion spent months racing under a fake identity, breaking records that professionals thought were untouchable? What happens when a driver transforms the very circuit that once broke him into the weapon that proves he's unstoppable? And how does a flower delivery van become the missing piece in a revolution that would change motorsport forever? This isn't just about one race. This is about the moment everything we believed about driver preparation, talent, and the future of racing shattered. May 2025, the Nürburgring Nordschleife. 21 kilometers of pure terror, 154 corners that have humbled legends and ended careers. During routine testing sessions, a name started circulating through the paddock like wildfire: Franz Hermann. This mysterious German driver was annihilating GT3 lap records, not just beating them, destroying them. Professional drivers who'd spent their entire careers mastering the green hell were watching their times get obliterated by someone they'd never heard of. The questions came fast. Who is this guy? Where did he train? How is this even possible? The truth hit like a thunderclap. Franz Hermann didn't exist. It was Max Verstappen, the reigning Formula One champion, hiding behind a pseudonym. He'd been testing in complete secrecy, demolishing Christian Krogness's benchmark time of 7 minutes and 49 seconds. Not by fractions, but by full seconds. Team Redline Bernhard, the outfit running the operation, kept it locked down tight. Verstappen wasn't hiding from fans. He was hiding from every competitor who might try to decode what he was building. Because this wasn't just about winning a GT3 race. This was about proving a system that no other driver in history had ever attempted. But here's where the story gets truly haunting. The Nürburgring had already changed Max Verstappen once before, and not in the way you'd expect. October 11th, 2020, the Eifel Grand Prix, same circuit, different Max. He was young, incredibly talented, but drowning in frustration. Trapped in a Red Bull that couldn't touch Mercedes's dominance, he spent practice sessions venting over the radio about cold tires, understeer, impossible grip levels in freezing German weather. He qualified third, finished second, and it felt like the story of his career. Always close, never quite there. But after crossing the line that day, something inside him cracked open. He said 7 words that would redefine the next 5 years of his life. I should try to get the best out of myself. It sounds almost too simple to matter. But what followed was a complete psychological metamorphosis. Stop complaining about what you can't control. Start perfecting what you can. That single mindset shift at the 2020 Eifel Grand Prix became the foundation for 4 consecutive world championships. The Nürburgring wasn't just asphalt to Verstappen. It was the place where the frustrated kid died and the calculating champion was born. But even that transformation wasn't enough to explain what came next. While his rivals spent off-seasons on beaches and in gyms, Verstappen was disappearing into another world entirely. Since 2015, he'd been a member of Team Redline, one of the planet's most elite sim racing squads. But this wasn't downtime between races. This was laboratory work. Verstappen's iRacing rating climbed to 8,900, top 0.5% globally. He wasn't just playing, he was engineering himself into something unprecedented. The first glimpse of his system came at the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Jeddah was completely new. Nobody had ever raced there. Red Bull's simulator wasn't ready with track data. While teams scrambled with satellite imagery and hope, Verstappen commissioned a custom virtual recreation of the circuit and spent days memorizing every braking zone, every apex, every curb. What happened in free practice 1 made the entire paddock go silent. His former performance coach, Bradley Scanes, watched in disbelief. Purple, purple, purple. Verstappen topped every single sector on his very first flying lap, while other drivers were still trying to locate turn 7. That wasn't natural talent. That was the system proving itself in real time. The Nürburgring Nordschleife became his obsession. Thousands of virtual laps through iRacing's laser scan perfection. Virtual 24-hour races where he studied every elevation change, every off-camber nightmare. He was programming his brain with information that would later feel like muscle memory. Then came the moment that defined his entire philosophy. May 19th, 2024. Imola. Verstappen dominated the Formula One Grand Prix in the real world. 12 hours later, he climbed into a makeshift simulator setup inside a flower delivery van that still smelled like roses and won the virtual Nürburgring 24 hours. Same day, 2 disciplines, 2 victories. One in the fastest racing cars on Earth, one in a vehicle meant for bouquets. That's when the motorsport world realized this isn't a racing driver anymore. This is something evolution hasn't caught up with yet. Everything was about to collide at the place where it all began. September 2025. The Nürburgring called Max Verstappen back, but the weather arrived like a test from the racing gods themselves. Dense fog swallowed track sections whole. Drizzle transformed the asphalt into an ice rink with grip that came and went like a ghost. 8 degrees Celsius. Qualifying delayed 30 minutes. When it finally started, Verstappen qualified third. Same position as 2020. Same freezing conditions. Same circuit. For anyone who remembered the radio complaints from 5 years earlier, this felt like watching history repeat itself. Except history doesn't repeat when you've rewritten your own code. The lights went out for the 4-hour GT3 endurance race, and Max Verstappen simply vanished. By turn 1, he led. Then he disappeared into the fog like he'd memorized where the track existed even when he couldn't see it. While other drivers fought their cars for basic grip, Verstappen was smooth as glass. While others squinted through mist, Verstappen knew every breaking point had been downloaded into his nervous system through thousands of virtual repetitions. Lap after lap, his lead grew. No drama, no mistakes, no radio complaints about temperature or tires. Just silent, surgical destruction of a field that should have been competitive. The contrast to 2020 was almost disturbing. 5 years earlier, he'd finished second while venting frustration. Now, in identical conditions, he was dominating without saying a word. His co-driver, Chris Lulham, not a karting graduate or junior Formula veteran, a sim racer, a virtual driver who'd proven himself fast enough in the digital realm to earn a seat beside a 4-time world champion. Verstappen's choice wasn't sentimental. It was a declaration. The boundary between virtual and real doesn't exist anymore. 4 hours later, Max Verstappen crossed the line first. Victory at the Nürburgring GT3 race was complete. The same circuit where his mindset transformed in 2020. The same track where he'd secretly tested as Franz Hermann months earlier. The same Nordschleife he'd conquered thousands of times in pixels. Now conquered in reality. Timo Bernhard, 5-time Nürburgring winner, got emotional. Hats off to Max Verstappen. George Russell admitted the quiet part out loud. F1 drivers are pretty jealous he's able to go and do that. The jealousy wasn't about the trophy. It was about what the trophy represented. A driver who isn't contained by discipline, by car class, by traditional limitations. Within weeks, Motorsport Australia officially recognized sim racing as a legitimate pathway into professional racing. Virtual competition was now an official route to the real thing. Max Verstappen was the catalyst. He legitimized an entire generation of sim racers who'd been told their victories didn't matter. Now they do. He's already planning the 2026 Nürburgring 24 hours. He's partnered with Fernando Alonso for future Le Mans entries. His Red Bull contract runs through 2028, and the schedule is suffocating. 24 races, testing, obligations that leave almost no breathing room. But what Verstappen has already proven changes everything for every driver coming after him. He's not chasing a triple crown. He's being surgical, strategic, choosing only the battles that test the absolute limits of his system. The 2020 Eifel Grand Prix taught him to stop complaining. The virtual world gave him preparation capabilities no rival possessed. The Franz Hermann testing proved the system worked in secret. The 2025 GT3 victory validated everything in public. Max Verstappen didn't just win a race at the Nürburgring. He proved that the future of racing isn't about who has the most natural talent. It's about who builds the most unbeatable system. And somewhere right now, a kid in a simulator is watching this story unfold, realizing their dream just became possible because Max Verstappen showed them the pathway is real.